guys, it's Bro You Whack, and Freya is the newest DPS hero in Overwatch 2. Slated to release with Season 16 here in a couple weeks, she was released a little bit early during this free-to-play weekend. So for today's video, I want to give you guys a beginner's guide so that you can understand the newest Danish bounty hunter in Overwatch 2. Today we're going to go over all of her weaponry, her abilities, her ultimate, and with the addition of Season 15, all 4 of her perks. So without further ado, let's learn of the dark arts of bounty hunting from the new character, Freja. Freja is a very unique DPS character, combining both quick, agile abilities with slow and precision accuracy weaponry. Sporting a rev draw crossbow, this is going to be Freja's main form of weaponry to hunt down her enemies. Now, this crossbow is going to be a projectile weapon that has 2 different forms of fire. Your primary fire that shoots 12 bolts in a rapid session, and your secondary fire, called your take aim, is going to shoot 1 highly explosive arrow, or bolt as it's officially called, at the enemy. Now, while the numbers are probably going to change when Freja first releases, the idea of how you want to handle her damage is going to stay the same, because her primary fire, each bolt is only going to do 30 damage per arrow. It can do double damage if you get a headshot. However, one thing that a lot of people aren't going to realize when they first play Freja is that the longer that you hold down your primary fire, the more the bolts, or the arrows as I'm probably going to call them, are going to spread out. This is what's called bloom. This is how Soldier 76's old primary fire used to work in Overwatch 1 before he got a rework. And how her bloom works is that after the 3rd arrow shot in a row, all the following bolts will just randomly start to be shot around the crosshair area. Now, to compensate for this bloom, luckily, and also surprisingly, there is no fall off damage for her primary fire. The same damage that you do from 5 meters away, you could do from 50 meters away. Just remember, the longer that you hold down the primary fire, the more the arrows will start to spread out, and the farther you are away, the more likely you're going to be missing some shots, which is why you're probably also not doing a lot of damage, because you're holding down the primary fire, missing some of those bolts. But you're probably also not doing a lot of damage because you're relying on her primary fire when you should rely on her secondary fire, called her take aim ability. When pressing the secondary fire button, you aim down the sights of your crossbow with 1 highly explosive single bolt to shoot at the enemy. If you directly hit someone with this bolt, you'll do an initial impact damage of 40 with a secondary explosion damage worth of 90. And you can get headshot damage, doubling the amount of the direct impact damage from 40 to 80. However, if you're not good with your secondary fire shot, like how I am, you're going to be able to get a little bit of splash damage off with a minimum damage of 30. Now, unlike her primary fire, we can shoot 12 bolts in a rapid session. You can only shoot 1 bolt with your take aim ability at a time, and the reload time is at 1 second. So you really don't want to miss your secondary fire shot, considering how much damage you can do. But that's if you're a bad Freja main and you didn't watch this guide, because one unique thing about her take aim secondary fire is that if you shoot that initial bolt and then directly after that dash, it'll instantly reload your take aim bolt once again for you to shoot. We'll talk more about that when we talk about her other abilities, but one thing that you might have noticed with her secondary fire is every time you take aim, it actually slows down a little bit, and this is a cool James Bond ability with just her secondary fire that slows down your movement speed as Freja when you take aim. Now, it doesn't slow anything else around you, only her by 80%, and it only lasts for a couple of seconds. Now, this will slow down your movement speed when you're on the ground as Freja, or when you're in the air. Now, this could be really helpful in conjunctions with your other abilities. Just be sure not to use them out in the open against an Ashe or Widowmaker especially, because then it'll just be easy pickings for them. But if you want to get her full damage potential with her crossbow, you gotta learn how her abilities work. And they're very simple on the surface, but very, very hard to master. Now, our first ability that we're going to be looking at is her quick dash ability, and it's kind of ironic because if you don't have any movement input, it'll actually just launch you in the air. So it's not really even a dash, it's more like a little leap. Now, similar to Tracer's blink, you do have 2 charges that you can use in a row, and each takes 5 seconds for them to charge back up. And like I alluded to beforehand, if you have no movement input, you just slightly leap into the air, but if you move forward, you dash forward. If you move side to side, you'll dash side to side, or if you move backwards, your dash backwards. And just like I mentioned with her take aim secondary fire, every time you use your quick dash ability, it'll automatically reload your secondary fire's bolts, so you won't have to wait that 1 extra second to reload. You'll just instantly get it back. and since you have 2 of these bolts, you can shoot 1 bolt, dash, shoot your bolt again, dash, and then you'll get a 3rd bolt to shoot again. And it gets even more exciting and spicier when we talk about her perks, but we're not there. We're getting ahead of ourselves. We gotta talk about her secondary ability called her Updraft. Now, this is probably one of the most complex abilities in the whole entire game, so stick with me now. So when you use your Updraft ability, you launch yourself into the air, and that's it. Nothing else. It has a 12-second cooldown, and you go about 8 meters into the air, and that's really it. You don't have any cute secondary abilities like how you do with Quick Dash, where it reloads. None of that. You just go in the air, and that's it. But it does get really cute and spicy when we talk about her perks, and we gotta talk about her ultimate. You know what? No, let's just talk about her perks. I can't wait anymore. Alright, so just like with every other hero, Freya has 2 minor perks to choose from and 2 major perks to choose from, all really playing into this fantasy of a bounty hunter. For her minor perks, you can choose between Frostbolts or Tracking Instinct. For Frostbolts, if you hit 3 enemies in a row with your primary fire bolts, it'll slow down that enemy by 20% for 2 seconds. Kind of similar to May's major perk. And if you don't know the time for a quote-unquote quick session, that basically means each bolt has to hit 0.5 seconds in between each other. Or if you just want a cool animation tell of when that quick session ends, every time the crossbow cocks itself back, that's when you know the quick session has ended. But for other minor perk, Tracking Instinct, this one is very simple. Every single time you see a critical health enemy, you'll be able to see their silhouette through the wall. Kind of similar to Widowmaker's ultimate, but only for critical health enemies. But this is where the real fun begins, with their 2 perks, Ready to Hunt or Relentless Barrage. Ready to Hunt is what allows her abilities to turn Freya into a DPS machine, because every time you use your Updraft ability with her Ready to Hunt perk, it'll give you a free dash ability. In a sense, giving you 3 dashes to work with. And while that's great for movement, this is gonna be deadly with your Take Aim secondary fire, because instead of using 3 bolts in a rapid session, now you can use 4, meaning you can nearly bring a tank to its knees if you use your Ready to Hunt perk properly. Or if you're just so tired of reloading those 12 bolts from the primary fire, you can use the Relentless Barrage perk, where every single time you use your Take Aim bolt and you make direct impact with the enemy, it'll automatically reload 4 bolts to your primary fire. Meaning you won't get that extra 3rd dash, but you still have 2 dashes to work with to, in a sense, never need to reload your primary fire. So you have a lot to work with when it comes to the damage, but it gets even more deadly with her ultimate ability, Bola Shot. This, my future bounty hunter mains, is Freya's ultimate. Did I say it was deadly? I meant not really all that deadly. So I'll admit, this ultimate might not seem that powerful, but let me explain how this ultimate works. There's many layers to it. So if you make direct impact with the Bola Shot on an enemy, it'll actually bring other enemies close to that directed impact target. It just has to be around that target for them to get pulled in. It'll do initial 25 impact damage to the target that's hit. It'll do 76 damage over time, and it has up to 100 of explosion damage and about a minimum of 60 damage for minimum explosion damage. On top of doing damage, it'll also slow the enemies down by 75%, and it'll also hinder their abilities, not allowing them to use any form of protection if hit with the Bola Shot. It can get blocked by shields, so don't be aiming for Reinhardt with his Bola Shot, because it'll just make you look like a fool. And for every 3 kills in a row, you'll get 25% towards your ultimate charge. Wait, what? Yeah, I might just slip this one past you, but we gotta talk about her passive ability called Bounty Hunting. So you might have noticed throughout this whole entire video, right underneath her dash blinks are 3 little diamonds. And up until this point, I haven't really explained what those things are. Basically, those are trackers for how many final blows you get as Freya. And every single time you get 3 final blows, it'll add 25% to your ultimate charge. Now you get 25% ultimate charge from your primary fire kills, from your secondary fire kills, and even from your ultimate Bola Shot kills. And no matter what, you'll always keep your filled diamonds. So even if you go into the next life after you die, you'll still have 1 or 2 filled diamonds. But remember, you have to get a final blow for one of those diamonds to be fulfilled. If you don't show up in the kill feed, that is not considered a final blow. So while our ultimate Bola Shot might not seem that powerful on the surface, which it's not, it technically is the quickest ultimate that you can get in Overwatch 2 now. Freja is a difficult hero to play. She's one of the hardest heroes to ever release in Overwatch 2, so do not get discouraged when you first pick her up and you don't do well with her. She has the agility of Tracer and Genji, but has the precision accuracy of Widowmaker and Ashe. So if you're not good with either of those types of characters, you're gonna have a tough time playing Freja, but you shouldn't be discouraged from trying to learn her. She's a character that's very unforgiving. If you don't take the time to learn her abilities, or even just take the time to practice aiming with her, you're not even going to be getting any kills, let alone any damage. If you solely rely on the primary fire, you're going to have a tough time. But if you see through the tough time and unlock her true potential, she can really be a deadly hero. But let me know what you guys think about Freja, and if you're going to be maining her in Season 16. And until then, I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. More Overwatch 2 videos to come, and bye.